paste this. Hey, Sharp Ben Forge just posted a video. Go check it out.
She is really loud. Gonna have to fix that. See how that goes. Volume wise. Because I don't know. All right. Oh, that camera angle kind of sucks, doesn't it? No, and I didn't. I need to focus this guy too, real quick. Hey, come on. Pocket back. So, read. Dun, dun, dun. Go. That appears to be focused. And about as bright as I can get it. Let's see. Yeah. I think what I can do, we'll see. I don't think much. Yeah, there we go. A little bit better. So that way when I forget to switch to camera. I'm not a big fan of the camera being in the frame, but it is what it is. I think that will do. I think that will do. Click on this thing. So, let me take a drink of my drink before I get going. All right. So the other day, I welded up this set of 4 bars, 1/4-inch bars. And I might weld the other end up and do one of those fancy basket weave thing, twisty things. I already did one somewhere. Over there. I already did one. It needs to be fixed, but other than the large gap in one side, which was done on purpose, by the way, other than the large gap on one side to insert a, I'm thinking about a bearing, ball bearing. Everybody does marbles. It's not fun. Let's see that one right there in the middle. It's, I don't know. That one, it must have been on the other side and I didn't see it. No big deal. You can just heat this up and then kind of close them all up and then kind of even your spacing out. It's fiddly stuff. But one of the fun things for me to do is when I forge weld something, see how far I can take it. Was it really forge welded? I would say in this case it was. This will be the hook end. So, I'm touching all that oily stuff. I may or may not have dropped it in a thing of oil on purpose. So it is all oily. I guess the good part about that is don't have to worry about it rusting right away. So anyways, let me turn on the forge. I love that. And that's what I'm using tonight is the induction forge. My goal is to forge something. I had an idea over the weekend, Paul was here and we were doing something. We forged it. I'm not showing anybody yet until it's closer to being done, but the main portion of it is done. There's just some logistics that I got to work out. But we forged a sign for our campsite in Quad State. And the idea is we left room on the sign for people in our campsite, really anybody, but mostly for people in our campsite to be able to forge a little something and then add it to the sign. So we worked on some rings, and the idea is we can give people these rings, and they can forge the thing in there, weld it in there, and then we'll add it to the sign and weld it to the sign. We talked about potentially getting folks to collar them in. We're not going to do that simply because of the logistical nightmare it would be to try to do that out there. I got a big fabrication table here, so we were able to do some things that we probably would have struggled with out there. It can be done, but it's a pain in the ass. But it's easier. What we'll do is we'll weld it where the collars will go, and then we'll just collar over the welds so that they're not noticeable, or hopefully not as noticeable. You know, it is what it is. But I think it'd be a cool thing. And then I've got a sign piece for it. What the hell did I do with that? Oh, it's still over there. It needs to go in the sodium bisulfate bath. Did I put it in there? Let me go check and make sure I haven't completely forgotten about this. I have completely forgotten about this. So this needs to come off of, these magnets are used to hold it in place. You guys can't see a damn thing I'm doing, and that's okay. Just trust that I am doing it. These magnets are redonkulous. Anyways, I'm gonna go drop this thing into the sodium bisulfate bath, get all the scale off of it, and then I'll probably spritz it with some vinegar or something later. Hey, it's not all going down. That's fine. I'll just flip it. But that'll clean all the scale and whatnot off of it, off the sign, the existing rust. But I want to get it cleaned up because I'm going to paint everything because it's an outdoor sign. I want it to last, you know, more than a day without rusting. So it will get painted. All right. So there's the weekend update. I don't know if anybody's actually on this thing. Nobody ever talks. Nobody ever chats. You guys suck. Bunch of lurkers.
Jeff Fillion, evening.
Okay, I'm gonna go turn her down. I was a little loud. Clearly we were rocking out over the weekend. And how you doing, Jeff? Let me turn this sucker down a little bit more. All right. So, I had an idea over the weekend about something I wanted to do, and I kind of tried it to a degree, but it was not, it did what I wanted it to do, it didn't do what I wanted it to do, if that makes any kind of sense whatsoever. I don't know if that's around here anywhere, but I had this thought. Yeah, here it is. So I had this thought that I would make for my piece to go on the sign, even though I helped make the sign. I would bend these two around. It needs to get heated up and opened up, and then these closed. But the problem was, so the sign that this would go onto, it's 3/4 inches wide. So these have to cross over one another, and then there needs to be a 1/4 inch gap between them to fit that space. The problem that I realized was that it's only going to fit that space in one spot. So I had another thought, and I'm not sure how well this is going to work, but I'm going to try it. But my second thought was to slot punch this, drift it open to 3/4 of an inch. Well, actually less than that. It'd be probably maybe 5/8 to get the swell out to about 3/4 of an inch. And then I'm going to pass these through those holes. Another thought that I had on that was do a set down inside here that's quarter of an inch wide and maybe 1/4 of an inch deep, and as they slot into each other, I can move that in and out. But that still leaves me with one side not being 3/4 of an inch. Doesn't have to be because we're going to weld them in, but obviously if this is this is half inch, by the way. If this is on a piece of 3/4 inch, it's going to be, in my opinion, kind of obvious that this has been welded on there. And it's not like a huge secret, but you know, to me, it stands out. I could do this in 3/4 by 1/4, and I've thought about it, but I figured I'm going to do the test in half first. I have another plan for this anyways, so yeah. So that being said, the camera is not pointed at that. I can probably point it at that. I'm going to cut a piece of 1/2 inch.
iduh Forge. Morning from Thailand.
Thailand, right on. I'm going to pan this over to the vise. I've got a piece already set up. I'm ready to cut. Morning from Thailand, right on. That's cool. So this piece is set up in the vise. I'm about to cut it. Stock like this, I prefer to shear it when I can. Yeah, I can use a zip wheel. I can use well, actually, I can't use my bandsaw because it's on a stand now. I'm going to get a new one, Harbor Freight one, I think. But this is, for those that don't know, this is essentially a tailgate shear. And it'll cut like what? Looks like 1/2, 3/8, and 1/4 inch. So you can shear that stock. Shearing half kind of sucks, by the way. You want to put it, if you can, put a cheater bar on this thing. You can do it, but it kind of sucks. There's usually a corresponding plate, the same plate. They're usually milled out at the same time, but there's a corresponding plate that you can mount. Like for a blacksmith, typically you would mount it to your forge somewhere, or on your tailgate somewhere. Hence tailgate shear. But I don't have this corresponding plate. I've got plates to make these, and I need to make some soon. Now that I think about it, because I owe Michael Hupp some. But you can use a vise. Just make sure your vise jaws are lined up and in line with each other. These are not quite, so what I'm going to do is get a persuader. Here it is, my persuader. It's a 4.5 pound hammer, and I'm just going to fill this and knock it over. And you want to do a little, you know, you don't have to go crazy, but the more in line these are, the better your cut will be. And then just, oh, it wasn't super tight, by the way. There we go. It is now. Then you just put this on there, butt it up against the jaws. Make sure you're tight up against them. I still see space in here, so that's not good. I'm gonna loosen this vise up just a hair. It's not, you can shear it without doing all this, by the way, but it'll respond a little bit better if there is no space. There we go. That's closed up. That's good. Right. The power of the gut. There we go. Okay. So now the space is gone. Keep it up against the face of the sides of the jaws here. And then just give it a good twist. So this is in my way. And then when you twist it back, you've sheared it off. And when you have the appropriate, so that was not a bad cut. When you have the appropriate counter or the other plate, you can get really nice, clean shearing points that require a little effort to clean up. This definitely needs cleaned up. So what I'm gonna do is take these over to the grinder. I cut this 14.5 inches, I think. To go around a 3-inch piece. Yeah, well, a little less than 14.5, 14 and 7/16 looks like. Yeah, after I get done grinding it, I think that's where it's going to be. Let me go hit that on the grinder real quick. I'm sorry for the noise. Hey, got a little warm. All right, so there we have it. Cleaned up, and ready to forge. However, I'm not gonna do this right now. On Facebook. So over on Facebook, there is a Facebook group. Said group is called something like Monthly Blacksmith Challenge or something. What did I do tonight? I locked that down, didn't I? Hey man, shall be looking at my crazy beard. Yeah, there we go. So there's a monthly blacksmith challenge or something. In this month, I think it's monthly, maybe it's weekly. I think it's weekly. And they keep it fairly simple. But this month, they're doing leaves, forged leaves. So I thought, hey, I should do one of those. I did 3. I can show you guys. I think I can show you guys. Let me see.
Through 72. Good evening all.
2, 3, that's 4 at one point in time. I don't know what I did with the other one. There's 3. Oh, there's 4. So I did, this one I did a while ago. Scott Brew 72. What up, yo? So I did this one a while ago, so I don't know if it really counts, but this is a piece of brass. And I forget the starting stock size. I've got that piece around here somewhere. So there's that one. This one I did over the weekend, I think, maybe Friday. I don't remember. I think it was Friday. But this was aluminum. I couldn't tell you the grade. I suspect it's 6061. It got a little toasty on the end. Aluminum does not give you a whole lot of warning when it's about to go. And then here's another fullered leaf. Yeah, you can kind of see it. If I could turn my hands to the correct path. There we go. Hold it up in the light a little bit. So there's that one. And I don't know, for some reason I just decided to do this. I don't know why. I didn't know what else to do with it. And then this is the classic, you know, the round with the little finial on the end or whatever, the penny scroll. But this one, these are one of my favorites style of leaves to make because I like to keep that ridge down the center. This is all about hammer control. This is a great exercise in hammer control. There's no grinding on this. This was all forged to finish. And, you know, I mean, to me, getting all those hammer marks out and keeping that down the center, that is challenging and fun. And I like to taunt knife makers because I like to tell them that if you can't make this, you can't make a dagger. Sorry, you can't forge a dagger. You can grind one. You ain't forging one. If you can't do that. So, anyways, enough about what they can and can't do. I need to cut this bar down because I want to make a leaf real quick. Then I'll jump onto the other thing. Oh, scale down the leg. Woohoo! Starting to think this is not mild. Okay, so with an induction forge, by the way, if it is on and you pass material through it, that material is going to get hot. So I made the mistake of passing this all the way through there, so it's hot. It's not like forging hot or anything like that, but I wouldn't want to reach down and grab that. So I'm going to cool that off. And then I will break it off. Cut the center. Always set you up for your forging. In most cases, in this case, I'm going to be drawing a taper, so that sets me up for my next forging process. It's relatively centered. So I'm going to cool this off a little bit more because it's actually warmer than I thought. I don't need all of this hot. One of the things I love about the induction forge is I can hold on to this piece for a good long while before it becomes too hot, and then I can just quench it off. So I'll remember, maybe.
BC 65,925. What the heck?
I know, right? Mr. Bill, I am forging your favorite thing in the whole wide world. I am forging a leaf-shaped object for no other reason than because that is the weekly blacksmith challenge. Though I guess I kind of already submitted mine. I mean, I could do this again and do it again, make it better. But seemed like a good thing to do.
Will it have hex?
Whoa, a hex leaf. There we go. All right, missed. Notice how I got this arm raised. I see a lot of people trying to forge a short taper and they're flat on the anvil. I didn't switch. I blame the cigar. So I'm going to clean my taper up a little bit. It's not as pointy as I would like. It's another thing I like about the induction forge. I can put a really sharp point on these things and not worry about burning them off too much. It can still be done. And trust me, if anybody can do it, it's me. So I'll switch real quick. Kinda. So I'm just trying to clean this up a little bit. I want to put a much finer point on the end of this. That's better. I want a relatively short taper for this leaf. And I'm just going through and cleaning everything up, making sure everything's about equal, which it looks like it is. Hell, it's even square, guys. It's even square. Oh my goodness. Now I'll put this back in there, push the tip forward so it's not heating up. I don't need to heat that up right now. And I'm sure all of you have seen or have, know how to do this. I'm just doing it to do it, really. One of the things I see a lot of people make mistakes on, myself included, is on your initial set downs, people get in too much of a hurry and they make really sloppy set downs. So what I would advise is pick a medium radius. It's not super sharp, but it's also not super rounded. I want it nice and crisp. Figure out where you want that. I like to do 2 hits. I'm trying to hold it exactly where I had it. It is not. There we go. And then look at it. And then your shoulders should match. If they do not, this is the time to fix them. Because once you get a little bit more established, it becomes a much more difficult proposition to fix. So one of the things I'm seeing right away, and you probably can too, the shoulders are basically the same, but this one is, it's a little lower. So I can kind of cheese that, not right now, it's too cold, but I can kind of cheese that by coming to a slightly bigger, is that what I said? A slightly bigger radius. I think Mark Asprey calls it anvil creep or radius creep, I forget. But the radius of your anvil will dictate a lot of times how much movement you get when you're doing things like this. So a sharper edge, you're going to see a lot less of that quote-unquote creep. And in a bigger edge, you're going to see a little bit more of it. And then that allows you to kind of move into that a little bit. So I don't need this crazy hot. Which one was it? It's this one. So this is the guy that needs to move down. So what I'm going to do is lock it in a little bit, slide it down. Whoop. Try to keep it straight as well. And then take a look and see where we're at. Much better. Now, I set a slightly more radius than what I was. I didn't come all the way back here. Because I don't need to. But now I want to keep the radiuses kind of the same. I don't want to, so, okay, that looks much better to me. I don't know how well you can see that. So yeah, this is taking a lot longer than you just bang out a leaf, right? But if you want those shoulders, if you want your leaf to be symmetrical, you got to take the time to do those set downs correctly. If you don't, that leaf's going to be lopsided. And I mean, yeah, in nature, sometimes that really happens. And this isn't even perfect, but it's going to do. And I'm seeing what looks like could be potentially a problem child. We'll see. I don't know what this material is. I'm assuming it's mild, but the way it held on when I went to cut it makes me think it probably is not. So whaling on it cold probably is not not in my best interest, but we'll see what happens, because you know what? I give no Fs. So now I'm going to get this a little hotter than I had been. Oh, and I'll tell you about something else real quick before I get really rolling. I want this nice and hot though. When you lock your shoulders in, I mean like lock them in. All right, don't go past 25% of your volume here. Start working it up. Because if you go too far, too quickly on that, that thing's going to fall off. So, excuse me, my next forging operation, I'm going to do the neck down on this side where my forging starts and stops, right in here. You can go more if you want. I know in my mind that's more than enough material to get across my anvil. On my 2-inch faced anvil, I require even less. Not a whole lot less, but less to get across that face. So I'm going to heat that spot up nice and hot. I'm going to do the same thing on this side, just on the near side of the anvil. Shoulders up. So I want my shoulders up. Very important. There's where my forging starts and stops. And I want to establish that shoulder. This side doesn't really matter as much, but it's just good practice. Now I'm going to work it back to a bit more of a radius. All right, so now I have a nice straight shoulder on this side to work from. And I just want to maintain that. So shoulders up. The reason you want shoulders up, and I'll show you, if I had started doing this here, look what happens. These shoulders are now on the anvil and there's a space in between there. And all that's going to do is bend. Every time you hit it, it's going to bend. And guess what's going to happen? That's going to break off eventually. Something's got to give, and eventually one of those is going to break off somewhere. So that's why shoulders up, when you do your opposite ups, set downs, it helps alleviate that and support your material while you're working it. And I'm doing this because I've seen on that Blacksmith Challenge Facebook group, I've seen some people doing some leaves, and it to me, and I'm not trying to poo-poo anybody, but to me it seems like a few folks are struggling with doing them. So I thought, hey, you know, let's do one, and then I can clip this out, you know, and just make a video dedicated to just doing the leaf itself, which is also why I'm being very particular about it right now. Same thing, keep it locked into that edge. And there's no need to rush these unless you have an order for like 1,000 of them, which honestly, if you don't know how to do this, you probably shouldn't have taken an order for 1,000 of them. See how long we can keep it somewhat hot. Starting to lose it. That's okay. Almost across, and we still got plenty of meat. Now, you don't always have to do that. You can work from the back here. You can work on the horn. I don't like forging on the horn. That's just me. It's not that I don't. I just don't care to do it. The horn is one of the the horn and the heel of your anvil are the least supported portions of your anvil in general. I'm fortunate that I have a German pattern anvil. So the heel is got a lot more meat than a typical London pattern. And the horn is fairly stubby in comparison. So it also has a little bit of meat, but even then, nothing compared to the main body. And again, you can forge all of this much quicker than what I'm doing right now. I just don't think, until you're there, why worry about how long it's taking you? You know? Work on getting it right. Work on making it look good. Work on your processes. There's a million things you could work on while you're doing these. It's what I love about forging these in particular. A lot of technique and just basic forging of these. Not quite across the anvil yet, that's okay. We'll be there next heat for sure. I mean, we're only, I don't know, 3/8 of a way to go. There's plenty of meat on this thing. So I'm not gonna, well, I say that now. I'll do the thing. We'll do the thing. Now, I'm using an induction forge. That's for the material I started with. This coil is fine. The material I'm currently trying to heat up, it is not great. And there's ways you can move it around in there and get it hot, but it's not heating efficiently like it was. It's fine, I'm almost there. I just gotta not donk around. Across the anvil. All right, so now I'm going to say across the anvil. Both faces are, or both sides are across both edges of the anvil, both shoulders. So I am now across that anvil, which for me, had this debate before, so I'm not going to try to go there, but you know, I'm pretty sure this is spring steel. The way it's bouncing back right now. Spring steel leaf. Awesome, Rob. I personally feel that forging all sides versus two sides is more efficient. That's just me. Could just be the way I forge. Some people disagree, which is fine. It's a free country. You're allowed to think whatever incorrect thoughts. Uh-oh, Ted Stout is watching. So anyways, yeah, you're free to you can forge two sides. I mean, the vast majority of what I just did was two-sided forging, right? But I feel that when you're forging all four sides, I don't know that you're not getting anything more done, but you're utilizing your heat better, in my opinion. So I don't need this super hot anymore. I'm not going to take this too far. So I'm going to tilt my hammer to get into that shoulder without crushing it. Again, it's about that hammer control. This is about when I'm going to hit it, by the way. But the more you tilt that hammer, the less likely you are to hit that. And I'm not worried about this end right now. I want to work on what I can get to right now and what I need to do. I don't need to do anything back here. I want to work on this leaf now. So I'm going to start rounding this up a little bit. Being a leaf, you can round this up as much as you'd like or as little. You can leave it lumpy bumpy. Adds a little to it, I think. But I also tend to fixate on removing hammer marks as much as I can when I can. It's just a character flaw. But yeah, so I'm focused on this because I can get to this later without worrying about hitting this after I make the form of the leaf. So this side I'm not worried about at all. I'm gonna take another small heat just to finish rounding that portion up by the shoulder a little bit more while I can still get to it. You don't need a lot of heat for that. Just keep that supported as you work. Notice I'm going really light right now because I'm going into that corner. If I feel like I can't get to it, I can sneak into it this way. And I'm just planishing really. Now that I've got where I wanted to get, at least in there, I can step this back a little bit, give myself a little breathing room. Now in theory, I should not have to mess with this portion anymore. I'm done with that. So ideally, I wouldn't even get that hot, or at least not to a scaling temperature. So, because if you work it when it's cold like this, you tend to beat a lot, unless it's crusty, you tend to beat a lot of that scale right off of it and leaves it nice and clean. However, there ain't nothing wrong with letting it soak in some vinegar or something. I have a big thing, like a 15-gallon bucket of sodium bisulfate that I soak things in all the time. See, I almost hit it. I mean, technically I hit it, but it's cold enough that it didn't do anything. Yeah. So now I'm just gonna work on the leaf end. And then decide, I don't know, what kind of leaf I'm gonna do. I'm not gonna fuller this leaf. I'm gonna do the peened one I showed earlier with the ridge down the middle. There we go. So I want to do this on the diamond up. So I'm going to hit it back in here just so I don't accidentally create a cold shut. And then I'll work it forward. And then just watch what your hammer's doing. And try to keep it as symmetrical as you can. Once it gets out of whack, it's hard to fix. So I'm pretty happy with where that's at. Heat it up again. Now you can switch to a cross peen at this point, or use your rounding hammer. That's what I'm going to do. I'm going to bring this back to a corner so I can get to it. And yeah, you can switch to a cross peen on this. I've done it before. I just don't feel like grabbing one right now. And then just work it back and forth. I'm not even worried about creating that ridge right now. I am creating that ridge right now, but I'm not worried about it. It's not something. What I use it for is to help guide me on how much material I'm pulling one direction or another. So there's more on this side than this side. So what I'll do is I'd come up more and bring this over more to keep them moving in the same rate. I don't always do this, by the way. I know these things. I don't always do these things. And I'm sure that's the case for a lot of folks. You get in a rush and you know, it's whatever. So, like I said, this side needs to come over more. So I'm gonna bring it back over here and I'm gonna hit a little up on that ridge now. So now I got the opposite effect. So now I'm come onto this side and bring it up a little bit. And I'm just trying to keep both sides about the same. And now is when I'll start, because it's getting a little bit thinner, but it's about the same on both sides. So now what I'm going to do is start focusing on trying to get this in the center and stay in the center. And that, to me, is part of the fun of doing these. I'm going to go cool this bar off, though. It is getting a little warm. It has gotten a little warm. Ooh, that smells wonderful. The only thing I don't like about doing that, I should have used tongs, because now my hand's wet. It's a good way to give yourself blisters. But yeah, so now I'm confident that I'm in a fairly good place. Material-wise, you know, in symmetry. It's not perfect. But now I'll start focusing on keeping that center line in the center as best I can. And it's really hard to see right now, but we'll get there. So I'm gonna tilt this away from myself a little bit, try and move that material down a little bit. And I'm moving the piece, not my hammer. Now I'll come over here and kind of do the same thing. And yeah, drawing this out laterally with a cross peen is much easier. There is no doubts about that. And I can do this with a cross peen. I mean, I don't know if oh, I got one right there. I thought I was gonna have to go look for one. I'll show you. I'll show you. I'll show you. I need to go touch my doodad. You dirty, dirty people, you. My tablet, so it doesn't turn off. All right. So I got a cross peen. That's a Jonathan Pinkston cross peen right there. So you do the same thing. I ain't moving much, so I'm gonna get it hot. Yeah, with a rounding hammer, a proper rounding hammer, I won't go into that, but a proper rounding hammer, you can tilt the hammer and tilt the dies and get a large variety of fullers available to you on the round and flat set faces, which makes it a really versatile hammer. However, it doesn't replace a cross peen, doesn't replace a straight peen. I'm not big on the diagonal things, but hey, doesn't replace those either. There's a time and place for those kinds of hammers, in my opinion. And ain't nothing wrong with using them when you need to. that all being said, what I like about the rounding hammer is when I'm doing a one-off thing, I don't need to switch to a different hammer if it's not readily available, let's say. I can make it happen. And you can do that with a cross peen too. I don't know why you would if you've already got a peen on the other side of the hammer, but you can tilt it and get some different sized fullers, provided that your hammer's faced, your grinds are good, has been properly dressed. You can achieve the same thing really. So I'm almost done using this cross peen at this point because I don't mind the lines, but I feel like for what I want to do, the rounding hammer gives me a better look for what I'm looking for. So that's where that's at. And it's not perfectly symmetrical. This side is smaller than this side. I mean, it just is. I'm going to take one more heat with the cross peen. And I'm going to do something that I think is also fun. Not necessarily a feature of a leaf per se, but if you're doing a spoon or a fork or some kind of ladle all in one piece, keeping this little rib, if you want to call it that, keeping that little bit of material in there really strengthens. So I want to see where I'm at, and I'm going to work that down. Same over here. Now I'm going to try to push this all over a little bit. A little bit more. All right, it's not quite perfect, but it's not terrible either. So I'm going to switch to my rounding hammer and finish cleaning it up. And I guess technically, to some degree, I'm mostly just planishing right now. I mean, it's still forging a little bit, but not a whole lot. I'm really just pushing that center vein, if you want to call it a vein, pushing that around a little bit. So it still needs to come my way a little bit. So I'm going to And this is one of those fun things, in my opinion, that you can spend a lot of time on just playing with, but I'm not going to spend all that time on it. But you can see it, right? Right? I'm going to clean up the other side a little bit. See, the one side is definitely a lot bigger than the other. So what I really want to do is look at it and see, do I have enough meat to try to make them match? Don't know if I do. And that's a big part of that's a forging bias on my part, I've noticed. Anytime I do these, I tend to get that side, the top side of the leaf, I guess you could call it, the far side.
That's a nice demo, Rob. Thanks.
I tend to get that side a little bit heavier for whatever reason. Yeah, no problem, Ted. Not like you don't know how to do all this stuff better. That's what I love about Ted. He's inquisitive and asks questions even when he knows the answers. I think a lot of it is he's gauging to see what you know. I could be wrong there, but I feel like that's what he's doing. It's what I would do. I do that at work all the time. So the lobes here are a little flat. I don't like that. But I don't know how much time I want to spend on chasing that. You can pull these down. Actually, a ball peen could be handy for that. That's a junker ball peen, by the way. Do not judge me. I use it for like 3 things. One of which you probably definitely should not be using it for. I'm not even going to talk about that. Let's just say it's seen some shit.
Just to be perfectly clear, when I ask it's because I have no clue is this the case in most.
Yeah. Let's see if I can pull a little bit more material out of this. Got a little bit further. And I've, oh, that's the other thing. I've stayed away from the tip at this point. It's still got plenty of meat on it. Now I'm going to clean up all those marks that I just put in there. And then hopefully, this thing is getting really close to the edges of my coils. Thankfully, I don't need to get it crazy hot. So now I'm just going to try to clean this up a little bit. You can leave some of these lines in there, really. It can kind of add to the aesthetic. That's not what I'm going for, though. So I want to try and get those out. It's a fair bit thinner than the other one, but not too bad. So now I want to try to pull these lobes down just a little bit so they're not completely flat. Oh man, that thing is like, oh, I have like a 16th on either side right now. Probably more than that, but I'm dramatizing for TV. All right, and ball peen. All I'm trying to do right now is make it not flat on that bottom. I don't care if it's rounded or whatever, I just don't want it flat. I just think that adds, it makes it ugly. So now I'm just going around this very edge, kind of like beveling a knife. And I'll use the ball peen to get in to the top of that, but I'm not going to do that right now. I'm just going over this edge. Gotta be careful here. You can crack this or split it. Yeah. But I want that rough kind of texture on the outside of this. I don't know. I didn't do it on one of my other ones. I haven't done it in a while, honestly, but I think it makes it look cool. I think. Oh, I got terrible taste though, so I'm gonna come up to this center a little bit. I'm not forging this too much, by the way. I want to leave the top of that fairly thick in comparison to everything else. So I'm just kind of going over this with the ball peen, just, I don't know, texturing it, I guess. A lot of that's going to go away.
65,925.
Anyways.
That's a nice custom handle on the ball peen. Did you cut it out of a piece of firewood?
No, I bought that at a hardware store, and they told me it was some kind of plant called Faberigleus or something. I don't know. I couldn't quite read the words. Faberigleus. I've never heard of that tree. It's weird. Faberigleus. I think that's what it was. I would normally go outside and do this, but I just happened to see this piece of wood laying here, and I thought to myself, yes, we will use that. And I will try to get this hot without sparking everything. That's going to be fun. We'll see what we can do. I'd prefer this be hotter, but all right. That's a smoky little piece of wood, man. I'm gonna take this outside because the impression I have outside on my stump is a little deeper. So it'll let me get this down a little further. I want way more curve than I'm seeing. All right, I'll be back. Hey, I can't see nothing out here. All right, that's much better. Mucho better. Oh, I didn't make it back in time. All right, so I just want to curl that tip up a little bit. No, the tip, dummy. There we go. Let me warm it up real quick. So one of the things on an induction forge, by the way, let me switch to the other camera. I'm not forging anything at this point. One of the things you can do on an induction forge, by the way, is if it doesn't fit, you can also hold it right outside the edge of the coil. And get everything nice and toasty. Like so. Where the hell's my brush? Oh, there it is. I'll say, from my experience, the less balance or the less symmetry you have when you do these tapers and your initial starts, the more it's going to show, the thinner you take it. So just keep that in mind. If you don't take it too thin, it doesn't show as much. So I was going to show you over there, but I think I'm going to walk over here and do it. So that's my leaf shaped object. I'm going to come back here a little bit. I think that glare is a little much. So it's not perfectly centered, but it's close. And then it's got little, I don't know, almost ruffles in it. So I think I like it. I like it. I think it looks cool. It's just me though. But now I need to do something over here. So I'm gonna work on that real quick. And what I did when I cut this piece is not what I'm going to do now. Because this has gotten so wide, it's getting tricky to put it in. So I'm gonna put it in this way. And then heat it up while I light my cigar back up. maybe.
Trail Dust 55. Hey Rob.
Hey, hey, hey. I'm gonna shut it off, pull it back out.
BC 65,925. Can you stick the end of your stocky in the induction forge to fire it up?
That's a good idea. Hey, I'm forging. I could switch. Oh, wrong camera. That camera doesn't exist. Excuse me. See,
Greg Swanner. Hey Rob, how's it going?
hey, Greg. So, are all you guys going to be at Quad State this year? Good Lord. I swallowed some tobacco. Woo! It's like chewing all over again. I haven't chewed for real in like a really long time. But yeah, are any of you guys planning to be at Quad State? I'm pretty sure Bill will be there. Trail Dust. What about you?
Trail Dust 55. I'll be coming to Quad State. We'll be bringing people again.
Good times. You brought steel last time? That's right, you did, because I think you sold it all by the time I remembered. I can't remember now. Somebody did that.
BC 65,925. I'm taking MLWJ to Shipshaw on a Tuesday and Wednesday, then to Layman's Hardware on Thursday, then down there to Soka on Friday.
Nice.
Trail Dust 55. Now, I think you'll leave it away.
I'm pretty sure this is spring steel. There's a little bit of red in there, but I can feel it kicking my hammer back up at me. Yeah. I guess I should have spark tested it. Paul was here Saturday and Sunday. He might have come out Friday night. He could come out Friday night. We didn't do anything really. But Saturday, man, I'm getting my days mixed up. One of those days, he decided to make a, oh, it was last weekend, not this previous, but the one before that. He had made a fuller, an eye fuller. We would normally make an eye punch, but his wasn't, it had no relief inside of it for to be used as an actual punch. So it was technically a fuller, I suppose. But he used it for, he needed to make sunflower seeds. And I think he made it out of 1/2-inch steel or spring steel. And I think this is the remnants of that bar. See if I can get this in there a little bit more. And get my hammer out of the way. And I'll switch to the doohickey-ma-doo. Doohickey-ma-doo! And then click on this before I forget.
BC 65,925. I let him use mine at the fair, and he said he was going to have to make one.
Okay. That makes sense. That makes sense. Here, a little scroll. Maybe I should turn it into a scribe. So this is where it gets fun in an induction forge. I'm getting that in there. Not that it can't be done, but remember that game, Operation? That's what it's like. Oh, getting there. Yeah, it's like playing Operation, trying to get pieces sometimes inside those coils without, you know, sparking. Oh. I've never intentionally done this to a leaf before. I don't know why I've decided to try it now.
Trail Dust 55. I'll have a look at induction forges. Seems like witchcraft.
But they're so, it's good witchcraft. Where is... They're way over there. What are they doing over there? Arr, 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 arr. Should I put them there? Some big dummy. I think Derek Melton's going to be using an induction forge up there at Quad State for his demo. It's a good demo if you haven't seen it. I'm sure he's changed it up a little bit. He's a smart guy, that Derek Melton guy. I want this a little bit smaller. Or, I mean, a little bit bigger. Do I ever use a cross beam? Yeah, I used one earlier. You didn't see that? Don't tell nobody. Okay. That's better. I closed it up a little too much. I do not use a cross peen for general forging for the most part. The only time I use a cross peen is when I have a lot of lateral movement to do that requires a cross peen. Outside of that, I use a rounding hammer for, I would say, 95% of everything I do. And you can interchange cross peen with straight peen. I have both. In fact, I used my straight peen the other night when we were doing ribbon scrolls. Okay, so what about in here? And then I'll slowly close it up. Oh, I think I got it. I mean, it's not in line, but I ain't too worried about that right now. Anyways, leaf. I'll show you guys. Let's not pay attention to the stem. That's not what this was meant to be, a whole thing on leaf making. I'll straighten this up, but I wanted a true rat tail, you know. I've never intentionally done that before, but yeah. There you go. I'll post pictures of it later when I get it done. But there's the center vein, if you want to call it that, raised vein. But I like doing these because there's a lot of hammer control involved. Pulling that off well, I'm not necessarily saying I pulled it off well, but there's just a lot of hammer control involved with that. So I'm gonna work on the thing I meant to work on. So a couple of things I need to do is first find the piece that I cut, because it was up here, I thought. Which one of you took my piece? There it is. So I'm gonna do a horse head on each side. I'm going to try to remember to do opposing horse heads, because I think in my brain that makes sense. It probably does not, but we'll see. Well, I want a fairly decent heat on this, about, I don't know, 2 inches. That way I can get as much done in one heat as I can for me, which is not a lot, to be honest. Now I'm gonna come up here and click on this button, lest I forget yet again. Don't want that much. I'm gonna come over here. I want that much. Over here. Well, I see what happened there. That much. Now, find a nice sharp edge. Bring that back over here. Here. One horse head. I do not have, I need to make some. I do not have the tooling right now to finish this the way it would normally get done. But I will take another heat just to kind of clean things up a little bit. I think the neck could be necked down a little bit more. But yeah, I use a cross beam, just not all the time. Very rare. So I'm just trying to get my bevels about the same on each side. So there's one head. Now I'm going to quench it and flip it over into an opposing horsey head. Yeah, I've got decent ball peen hammers somewhere. I got cross beans. I got a couple cross beans actually. I got 1, 2, 3 cross beans. I think. Hinaz, I got a Steve King cross peen and a Jonathan Pinkston cross peen. And then I've got an Andrew Larson straight peen. And then just like whatever kind of ball peens. I don't have, for a guy that makes hammers all the damn time, I actually don't. I help people make hammers all the time. I actually don't have a lot of hammers. I've got a 2, no, it's not even 2. Oh, I've got 4 cross peens, jeez. I got a Brent Bailey cross peen, I forgot about that guy. That's my, I think it's a 1.5 pounds maybe, or 1.75 pounds. I forget. So we took about that much last time. You guys correct me if I'm wrong. And we want about that much. And then we want about that much. Hey, moved again. Here, get this guy. And then finally this guy. Oh, I skipped a step. Just dawned on me. And horsey head. And they're on opposite sides. They're facing opposites. I don't know if that's really going to matter. Now I need to cool this off. And I'll show you what my plan here is to start my bend in the middle of this and bring this around. And then I'm going to have 2 slots punched out here somewhere. And these will pass through those slots. They'll be slotted in and opened up slightly. I don't know how much of that I want to open up. It's more of an idea than anything else. Another thought I had was setting down indents on either side, and when they cross over, have those indents lock into each other. Maybe that's what I do. I just got to figure out, I got to figure out how I would manage that. So let me just stick with the original idea. So this is slightly more than half, but this will have to do because I'm not going to go looking for a punch. So I'm going to get this hot back here, hot, quote unquote, hot, so I can mark it. I don't have a whole lot to hold on to here. One of my least favorite things to punch is 1/2 inch because boy does it ever tell on you. Doesn't look bad. Of course, when I go to actually punch it, it's going to be all kinds of crazy. I'm just marking it at a low heat so that I'm not struggling to find this later. Yeah, that's off. An extra hit that I didn't want to make, but it's off a little bit. But hopefully I can adjust that. Normally what I would do is lay this out cold, actually cold. Also, this coil is not really the best size for what I'm trying to do, but it'll work. Also wish this bar was a little longer holding it between my legs wearing shorts. But hey, can't have everything. So it was a little off. I'm going to try to finagle it back over a hair. All right, that looks better. All right, and get it hot. But it's still pooching out more on one side than the other. It's at least straight-ish now, straight. But it's off to one side more than the other. I can deal with that though. That's not a big deal. It sucks, but it's not a big deal. Okay. See if I can get this down. Nothing about that was straight. Oh, I could have used that. I didn't even see that. I mean, it's much smaller, but oh. Put this over here. stubborn piece of rag in there because I was off. That's okay. It'll come out. It has no choice. So, I made a camel. I guess I should find my slot punch before I get too carried away. Or my drift. I need, this will, I think, work, but I need a little cup. And I'll show you guys what I'm up to. I'm gonna heat this up. Okay, normally I would fill this all the way up, but I can't really get to that, so I'm gonna try this. It's plastic, so I should be able to melt into it, right? Okay, not the greatest plan in the world, but a plan nonetheless. Yeah, it didn't work nearly as well as I would have liked. Oh, hey. That is not big enough. I need 1/2 inch. There we go. Okay, let me get an appropriately sized cup of nasty water that I can use for this. That is not going to do it. However, I think this will. So there's that. Mostly level. What I'll do is I'll cap it off, not cap it off, but top it off. A little extra water. It's best to do on a level platform. I am seeing now that my anvil is not quite level, but level enough to do this. I really should have done this in the first place, because I don't think it's just going to come all the way out. Well, we'll see. Wait a minute, what did I do with that? There it is. Okay. If I had punched this straight and centered, this would not be a problem. But believe it or not, after making 3 or 4 TV trays now, I have a bit of experience in fixing these holes. 1/2 inch is a lot harder to fix though. Okay. Yeah, see. Now the problem is, you got to get to it pretty quick because it'll start to wick back into the other side. Well, see, like, when you do things like that. Oh, come here, you. Yeah, I want to make sure it. I almost got a drift stuck in there one day. Put the cigar down. It's distracting me. We'll try that one more time. The idea is to cool off the thin side so that it doesn't move as much as the other side. And if you can't get it down in there, get it down in there. And then try to hit it square, not like I did the first time. So, yeah, it didn't completely fix that. The only way I could fix it at this point, really, not the only way, but an easy way if I were doing a tray or something, an easy way to fix that would be to take it bigger and do the same thing over again. But this is a test, so I just wanted to see how it would look. Oh, I guess I should have picked that drift up. So, my horse head is pretty far down right now. So I'm going to put this drift back in so I can get it a little bit more in line without distorting my hole. Try not to forge on the hole that you created or your swells, because that definitely shows. Not that this particular case matters because it's already screwed up. But yeah, you're just trying to keep from distorting it anymore. Don't pick your drift up when you leave it in your hole like that. It's toasty. I stood on one day, which was kind of funny. I stood on one, tried to keep it from rolling around, and melted part of my shoe. That was exciting. Exciting. Let me switch to the other camera. Yeah, not that hole is not ideal. And the more I look at it, not because it's off on one side and the other, but the more I look at it, the more it's not quite what I want. So I'm thinking doing that little 1/4 inch set down thingy. That might be the ticket. That might be the ticket. How far down did I go with that? About there. And since this is just a test, I'm going to use this smaller punch this time. What am I doing? Oh, I got a big thing of water in my way. So, you guys have already seen this, so I'm not worried about switching right now. Big thing of water in my way. Yeah, it's warm. That's a warm thing of water. You'd think I'd quench some hot steel in it or something. So, that is definitely not centered. Luckily, it was cold enough that it didn't really leave much impression. See, there's an advantage to putting things in your way. And I don't care about the water on top. Oh my God, it's going to take all my heat away. Oh. Look at that, it's still hot. Imagine that. Imagine that. Okay, that looks a lot better. One more hit just to really make sure I got it where I can find it. This is a bit thicker, but it's more narrow. I think that was the induction forge scolding me. If I don't completely hate this, what I'll do is I'll make another slot punch 1/2 inch. So that I'm getting exactly what I want. This one's more centered at least. Like almost perfect. So I'm bound to screw this one up. Bound to. Go. There we go. A lot better. Didn't come all the way out. There's something out there. There's something out there. So, bring it over this pritchel. This is just big enough to go through. Just big enough. Oh. It had already come out. I said, it filled the hole so good. When I looked in there, I thought the plug was still in there. It was the punch. And it paid the price of my stupidity. Not too bad, but it needs to be redressed now. Okay. So this hole looks much better. Check this drift, make sure it's not crazy hot. Yeah, that one looks way better. Way mucho better. This is how it was supposed to look. Do things on camera. I should know better.
Apiary Forge. Cross beams are for Haberman bends in my shop.
What? Oh, okay. The way she said Haberman, I thought you said something completely different, and I would not have been surprised knowing you, Jod. Yeah, I use a cross beam for. And honestly, I don't use it for a lot of Haberman bends either anymore, unless I'm doing a bunch all at once. I suspect that's still hot. Yeah, it's smoking, steaming. It's steaming, so it's definitely still hot. Okay, I can at least hold on to it. Yeah, the Haberman bends, especially if I have to do a bunch of them, definitely switching to a cross beam. Honestly, anymore, I use a power hammer, unless it doesn't fit on the power hammer. I am going to switch hammers real quick. Whoop. To a 5-pounder. So that way I know that initial set down is going where I want it. And look how much faster that went through. I didn't even have to kill it, man. I just dropped this hammer and away it went. So there we go. All right, is a damn good hole. I'm quite happy with that. So I don't always get this right. When I do, I save a lot on Geico. So a telltale sign when you're not forging evenly in getting both sides, like if you've got something on one side more than the other, you're not well centered. A telltale sign of that, obviously, is an offset hole. But the other thing is this piece is going to move. It's going to shift around because you're pulling material around. When you're doing that more than one on one side than the other, it's not balanced. So it's going to want to lean one way or the other. So that's it. Ask me how I know. TV trays, let me tell you. I figured that out after about 10 rails. When you're punching those holes, and that bar will start to twist on you. Not twist, but it'll move because your hole's offset. So it's more free to move in that direction. So anyways, there's that. Now I need to get the whole thing hot. This is going to be the fun part. Let me cool it off so I can heat it back up, because that makes sense. Oh, that splashed me right in the face. Yums. This is how I've avoided getting deathly ill. I just come out here and drink from that quench bucket every once in a while. And, I'm as right as rain. So I got plenty of this material. This was cut at, 14 3/8, I think. I needed, how much did I need? I didn't need that much. 9 and some change, 9 and a half, I think, to get around a 3-inch pipe. So what I'm doing is trying to figure out how I'm gonna hold this. While I contemplate life and my life choices, I'm gonna fire my smoke back up. Hey Jot, if you're still there, did you ever pick up one of those filament welder doodads? Because I'm at a point now where I'm thinking I might need to get one. All right, so this will hold it, and I can bend with it. It's over there. And these will hold it, and I can bend with it. Oh, I better put the doodad in the vise. And I should probably move the camera so you can at least stare at my butt while I do this. What do you guys think? I think you should. Everybody should be staring at my butt because it's a good butt. I think it's great. I like my butt. Do you like my butt? Oh. Okay. So these ones are going to get a tone clip for sure. Okay.
Trail Dust 55. Weds Night Forging. Gotta love it.
For what I'm doing, it doesn't need to be crazy hot, but I'm going to get it hot as I can because I got to walk over to the vise. And I'm supporting it so it doesn't droop when it gets hot. Yeah, wrong coil for this. Okay. I'm going to try and keep this in line as best as I can. It's got a bit of a, started to twist on me. Well, I was twisting it, apparently. You know what I should have done? I'm thinking about it now. I should have marked, because these holes might not be in the right spot. I might have pulled these necks too far back. Test piece. I just keep telling myself that. I'm gonna bend this down a little bit. I'll take this hammer with me. Take this hammer with me. Do that right here.
65,925. Night.
Good night. Well, y'all can't see a damn thing I'm doing. Sorry. My bad. Y'all couldn't see a damn thing I was doing. Probably for the best, too, because, you know, I'm over here doing the dumb. That's how I roll. You know, now I'm thinking about the test piece. I probably should have used something a little thinner than 1/4 inch. A little easier to move, you know, bend around when it's colder. Not that this can't be done.
I can smell that water from here. Smell you can't forget.
Yeah, right. It's actually not bad right now. Lies. It's actually not bad. I put some bleach in it. Hey, get in there. Get in there. All right, there's one. Oh, that next one's gonna be funsies. But yeah, I put bleach in them and it's helped significantly. I mean, I ain't saying it smells good, but it doesn't smell like it used to. So I can already tell what I didn't do was leave myself enough room on either side of this, on these heads. So I'm thinking the next one should probably be more like 16 inches. The piece that I do. I'll play with that. I'm going to go ahead and, it's also not, now that I'm looking at it, there was no need to put the second hole in there. I don't know why I did that. I wasn't even thinking about it. And honestly, I should have passed it through the other hole because it was the cleaner hole, but it was a test piece. So, but that's telling me I can do it, what I want, and it's telling me what I wanted to know. Sometimes I just can't. I have a stupid idea, but until I do it, it's hard for me to visualize it. So this helps me visualize it. I think the idea would work, not in the application that I wanted to use it for. Actually, that'd be a cool, like, wouldn't be considered a bracelet. It's too big for that, isn't it? It would be like a, what do they call it? A bangle. Be like a bangle. But yeah, I think that would be kind of cool. Might be something I do. I don't know about 1/4 inch, but I've got some copper. I might forge it out into like 3/16 by half. And that could be a cool jewelry piece if I can pull it off. I'm gonna set that down because I'm gonna try. I gotta figure out, do I have a piece of 1/4 inch angle iron? If I have a piece of 1/4 inch angle iron, and I should have some. Oh no, I got a piece of, I do have a piece, but it's it's attached to a jig. Let me put that there. Let me see if I can mount this in such a way that I can take advantage of it. Not that way, Rob. I mean, I can stand it up on the end. It's just going to be a lot taller than, well, no, it'll drop down. All right. I'm going to have to file this, though.
Jeff Phillips. Catch you all later. Have a good night.
Take it easy, man. All right. Let me move the camera again. Derp, 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 derp. Yeah. You can kind of see what I'm up to over here. I just need to take these sharp edges off this end. I mean, for the test piece, it doesn't matter, but and I'm not taking it too far for the test piece. trying to alleviate immediate headache. Oh, wait a minute. I have an angle grinder out. I forgot. It's going to be loud. That should be enough. Okay, all I want to do is forge down 2 pieces, roughly 1/2 inch, using 1/2 inch, and just see how that looks in my mind's eye. It looks one way. I want to do it just to make sure. What did I do with that? Oh, what did I do with it? What did I do with it? Is that it? I think that's it. I think that's it. So I need to cut this. I'll cut that real quick. Right about there. I don't need perfection. I just need a cut. So I'm just gonna do what I normally would not. Okay. So I'm gonna start with the big piece first. Staring at nothing, but here I come. Oh. Okay. I think that's probably too far, but that's okay. Oh, you know something I didn't think about. So when you do that, what I just did, I probably should have used something like 3/16 versus 1/4 inch, because when you go to flatten this back out, this is going to stretch on you. I didn't even think about that. Did not occur to me until I did it, and then I was like, oh, looky there. But I'm going to continue. I'm marching forward. Okay, I'm going to switch to the anvil cam, and I'll show you what I'm talking about. See how wide we are right now? First one. Now look at it. Just things to think about, which I did not. See how it's loose. It's not what I wanted. But I think the idea is there. The idea is there. I think that could be cool too. With horse heads on the ends of that. What do you think? I think that'd be cool. Oh, you can't even see it. Horse heads on the end of that and then bent round. I think it'd be cool. I think it'd be cool. Anyways, what time is it? I got 30 minutes left, guys. 30 minutes. Well, 25 technically. So, with that amount of time left, what can I screw up? Let me think. I know what I'll do. I know what I will do. I'm not going to do it with that. That's way thin. What the hell? Oh, looky there. I found it. I found the piece. Oh, somebody was doing something with this. Looks like it's cold roll or something. Anyways, it'll work. I'm gonna go grind this. It's got a nasty burr on the end of it. Okay. Much better. I need to redeem myself when it comes to forging a flower with flat stock. I don't know that I'm going to do it today, but damn it, I definitely need to try. Okay. That felt like it moved. If it did, it wasn't much. Okay, that moved. That's okay. I'll deal with it. That wasn't the problem before. And if I screw this up, I'll use this as an excuse. That's the problem this time. I'm kidding. I'm going to try to even those up a little bit. Not like that. That's better. Ain't square though. Okay, one more try. Better. Yeah, they're way off, but whatever. I'm gonna roll with that.
Aviary forge. Not the one we talked about, and did not work. After talking to Derek, I might not work at all due to humidity, because I don't polyate film and fryer.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I've got the Sunlu, is it the S4? It's pretty nice, but it's also limited. If I were to buy another one, if you're looking at any of them, the Polymaker dryer is pretty sweet because you can basically just take the box, drop it on the dryer. Ow. Drop it on the dryer.
Legendary Forge. 9.5 inches for a 3-inch height diameter also.
Wait, what? Not, yeah, I'd already figured that, but I need more material than that to get the thingies around it.
Alexa's lagging bad.
But yeah, the Polymaker Poly Dryer is it's pretty cool, and you can buy separate little dry boxes for it, and then you can pop one off and put another one on, and then it stays in the dry box. And in your environment, it'd probably be a good idea, mine too, to feed directly out of that box, which you can do. Well, I think that's probably as even as I'm going to get that. Those shoulders being off like that. I'll take one more pass. See if I can at least kind of fake it. All right. Yeah, if you can, there's cereal boxes essentially, but they're airtight. And then there's prints that you can print, put a little spool holder in the bottom of them, and then feed out of those. And that, I was skeptical at first, but all my stuff's in a basement, so it's constantly 50% humidity down there. And after drying some filament, it made a big difference. What am I doing? I have a tool for this now. Where's it at? It's not like there. Oh, that's not it. I'll have to look for it now. This'll work. This is how I've always done it before. But I do have a spring swage tinning die now, Paul made. And it's quite handy. I've been meaning to make one for a while, and I just keep putting it off. And then the thing with Paul is you can't mention anything like that because he'll just make it. Not that I'm complaining. I'm glad he did, because I probably would still be talking about making it. Good enough. Good enough. That's where I'm at with that. Alexa's lagging bad. I didn't even hear that. I got 15 minutes. And the camera's still pointing at the wrong damn thing. You'd think amateur hour up in here, y'all. Hey, I'm forging over here. Why don't you shut the hell up? God damn critters. I need a chisel. Do I have a chisel? I have a chisel. I saw a chisel. I've been piling tools up here. This is kind of funny. I've been piling crap up here to sort it out and put it in different places. And it's just turned into a giant pile that I keep adding crap to and losing stuff in. Because, you know, that's how I roll. So the first thing I want to do is, because I'm going to be holding this between my legs, I'm going to turn this piece perpendicular to the bar. So that way I can hold it like this between my legs versus like this. So it's almost already there, but not quite. There we go. And I don't need it screeching hot, but I'd like it hot-er. I just grabbed that chisel. What did I do with it? There it is. What in the world? What in the world? Indeed. So I want this to point there. I want this to point there. I want this to point here. You to that other corner. I'm getting a little chilly. So I'm getting a little chilly. That was a terrible hit too, by the way. There's that one. See if I can fix this. Oh. Get my peepers out of the way. Better. Now I'll just extend my lines a little bit. I don't want to go too far. That's terrible. That's friggin' terrible. I ain't showing y'all that. I ain't showing y'all that. See if I can make it not suck though. Probably unlikely. I really gotta I can't believe I'm admitting this, but I really need to go to the eye doctor and deal with my eyesight. It's getting redonkulous. I'm gonna leave that alone. Let's see if I have a small enough ball end fuller. That is not. That's a terrible round. We'll make it work. We'll make it work. Maybe. that right there, so I think I can find it again later. I think this will be small enough, man. Maybe, just maybe. Maybe,
Odd flower.
maybe, just maybe. Hi-ya! Trying to burn myself. I'm really just kind of marking it. I didn't forget to cut. We'll just do 2 right here. How about that? Whoop. I think I scorched my finger. Red hot burns are the best burns. Said nobody ever. Actually, they are. Basically just kills the cells there completely and utterly. I am not feeling that guy at all. That's the bad one. Try that again. Take a little deeper. That's what she said. Yeah, already getting wonky, but that's okay. I don't care. I don't and I didn't. I don't and I didn't. Did we hang the 10 innings? All right, never mind, I see it now. I was looking for that spring swage earlier, and I see it. It's hiding, but it's on the rack.
Iron weather. Embrace the wall.
I would love to know why she can't say your name correctly. I mean, to me, it's kind of hilarious to me. So yeah, I don't know about any redemption arcs, but it's not as bad as the last one. Or the one, not the last one, but I did one at the fair that was not great, but not.
No idea. If it was 2 words, it is fine. Iron weaver. Iron weaver.
Yeah. Getting wonky. Getting wonky. That's okay. I don't care.
I remember. Aside for that one pedal, it looks good.
It doesn't, but that's okay. I appreciate it. It looks like ass. What's gonna be funny is I'm gonna sit down, like probably at Quad State one day, and this is what I'm going to work on. Because I used to not suck at this. I wasn't great. But anymore, it seems like I suck at it now. I mean, it's not bad, but it ain't great. I mean, it's never been great, but in comparison to my others, hey, I'm forging over here, god damn it. I'm gonna do the bulk of it. There it is. It's got a flat spot there. I don't know that I can fix. What else did I work on tonight? Well, as soon as that rude son of a bitch shuts up, I'll tell you all about it. I need I needed the cross peen. Or not the cross peen, the ball peen. That's what it's called, a ball peen hammer. I need one of those. I'm gonna heat this up real quick, take it out and smack the shite out of it. So what else did I work on tonight? I did a leaf because it was the weekly blacksmith challenge. I think I've kind of already entered my leaves for that. It didn't occur to me when I did it though. It's kind of funny. And then I realized what it was. I thought it was like the beginners group. And then I thought, oh, well, hey, here's my leaf. And then it turned out it was the weekly challenge thing. And then, so I did that leaf. I got it over here somewhere. I haven't finished it, but I did as much as I felt like forging on it for a leaf. And then I worked on that horse head hoop thing, the ring that I was talking about over the weekend. I kind of played with that, and then I came to the realization that, well, one, the initial idea I had, that ain't gonna work. I don't know what I was thinking. I was not. That was the problem. And I'll show you what I mean by that here in a second. Okay, let me straighten this piece out real quick. Honestly, the way it's bent, I wouldn't even worry about it, but it's not bent in the correct way. That's a big ass hammer for that. No need for that big ass hammer, Rob. Now, if it was bent down that way, it would have been better. But now it is. So, there's that. Ain't great, ain't terrible. I don't feel like there was a redemption arc there. Let me switch cameras. Light? Where's some light? Is there some light around here? Calling the light. Anybody seen some light? Guess not. There we go. Anyways, it's not terrible, but it's definitely not the best flower I've ever done. And really, this one could probably stand to be center punched with, like, you know, the little dots and stuff in the middle, but I'm not doing that right now. I did what I wanted to do with it. Well, I did not, but I did what I was going to do with it. Let me shut this off. Let me shut that off. Like this flower, I feel like, yeah, this is the one. This one is so bad. It is so bad. But let me show you the leaf that I did, and I'll show you the other thing. So I need to finish this. This needs to be a little tighter, and then this is gonna come back up. I just haven't gotten to it yet, and I wanted to keep it in line with the ridge. So, and I was mostly just kind of, I don't know, I guess you could almost say demonstrating, but the horse thing. Oh, that's the one I did with you here. Here it is. So, one, I didn't leave myself enough material. I have enough material to do the 3-inch ring that I wanted to do. The problem is I don't have enough material for these pass-throughs properly. I need to pull these back probably another 1.5 inches, maybe even 2 inches to keep myself safe. So next time I will cut a little bit more material off. I think this was 14.5. The other thing is in my head, I was going to pass this one through this hole and this one through this hole. But then when I started looking at it, I was like, well, that's dumb. Why would you do that? Just make one hole and pass one through the other and then finish the round.
Apiary forge. Yea, the filament would well find it break.
But yeah, that's where I stopped once I realized this was a quote unquote test piece. I need to forge tools for 1/2-inch horse heads because none of mine, minus the chisel, are really appropriately sized for a horse head this small. So I might do that this weekend. We'll see. Well, yeah, I don't know. We'll see how I feel on Saturday because I have a show on Friday. My birthday is on Saturday. It's possible I might not be filling up to forging on Saturday. We'll see. Sunday for sure. Anyways, would not be considered a bracelet, I don't think. And it's not fully closed up. I guess that would be considered a bangle. I guess, I don't know. And then if I were to do this, it would be,
yeah, one pass through will probably be best.
Yeah, there's doing two, it doesn't make any sense. But I'm thinking about doing this. I'm going to do another couple of test pieces to see how I like it. I'm thinking about doing it in copper. So I think that would be a cool piece of jewelry. So we'll see. Anyways, so there was that. And then I did the second idea for the same thing, but instead of a pass-through, it was these set downs so that they would sit on top of each other. But what I forgot, and I knew this, but what I forgot was I used a 1/4-inch piece to set down these little set downs, right? Well, the problem with that is once you hit it here, to flatten it back out, that's gonna grow. So this probably should have been, I don't know, 3/16 and then gone from there. So that will be tomorrow's test. But yeah, so the idea would be these would interlock and then they would bend around and then lock into place and then, form the circle with little horse heads on the ends. And I think that's what I'm going for. We'll see. That dumb idea came to me, I think yesterday or maybe today. I don't remember. Anyways, I said I was stopping at 10:30, and I meant it. You like the raised vein? Yeah. I'm really trying to, there's a way to cheese that a little bit. I should show that. All you essentially do is forge the leaf out and then fold it. And if you put it in a vise, you can upset that down a little bit and then unfurl it, and then you kind of get that raised thing. But I like what I was telling other people, what I like about doing you know this, but what I like about doing a raised ridge like that on a leaf like this is everything about what I did here is about hammer control. And I intentionally textured this with a ball peen. That's why it was.
But that isn't hammer control.
Yeah. So I intentionally went over this with a ball peen hammer. It's not focusing.
Iron Weber.
Give it that.
Yeah.
So that's why it's got that texture, I guess. So I did that with a ball peen hammer. I did that on purpose. I don't have to explain this to Paul because Paul knows that I can put a really nice finish on these when I want to. I wanted to play with some ideas, and I'd never done this would be what I would consider a true rat tail. So that's where I need to finish this off eventually. Oh, that's the other thing. I'm pretty sure this is spring steel. I think this is that 1/2-inch bar that you used for the fuller that you made. Didn't think about it, but when I cut it, I remember there was very little left, and it was basically holding. I had to give it a jostle before it would start to drop. Mild still, once it gets down to that thin, it's basically falling off on you. And it didn't do that. And then I started forging it at one point, and it was like, I don't know, a dull red, and my hammer was bouncing off of it. So I'm pretty sure this was made out of spring steel. I didn't really notice it until it was at a lower heat, and then that's when I was like, huh, my hammer's bouncing off of it. That's kind of weird. Like mild won't do that until it's like cold. So yeah, I joked about not putting this little ring on it, but I wanted to do a true rat tail. Like I said, it's not finished yet. I wanted to do a true rat tail, and I've never actually done it. So obviously it needs to get straightened up and then bent over, but I want to bring this in a little bit more because I want this to come around and then back out. So it's almost there. But yeah, overall, to point out, I want this to kind of set back right up on this spot here. It's sitting too far up, so I just go back up here. But I was over playing with a leaf on a stream. But I'll do that eventually and post a picture of it or something. Anyways, the filament thing, I saw Jot said something. Yeah, the filament would well fine, but break. Yeah, I feel like you're lagging really bad, or you're responding really late. Probably a little bit of both. Anyways, I don't know. So we got the quad state sign in progress for our campsite. It's not a quote unquote quad state sign. It's a sign that we're going to be posting or hanging in our camp. Paul and I, mostly Paul, got that done. I just threw stupid ideas out there, and Paul just kind of ran with it, and then I was his bitch. I guess that's the definition of a manager. I think about it. Anyways, so yeah, we got the sign, the main frame of the sign done, and then I'll be working on the rest of it probably the rest of this week. And then the idea is those folks that are in our camp or anybody else that we don't hate, I'll even maybe some of those we do hate, if you forge a piece within a ring that we've got here, what did these come out to? 4-inch rings? So you forge something that will fit within this space, and then we will put it in the sign. And we have room for, I think I remember we said 8, but I want to say we thought 12 to 14 could fit in there. And hey, if we run out of rings in space, I'm not leaving anybody behind, man. No man left behind. If you make something, we'll find a way to get it on there. So there's that. Yeah, and it's like, you know, do a thing. And then we also want people to touch mark the actual plate for the sign too, which Paul and I forgot to do, by the way, but we've got a couple weeks, so it's not a big deal. That's really the only piece.
Iron Weber. 12 will do, but 14 is max internal.
Yeah, I think 12 is probably the comfortable number. But yeah, like I said, we'll find, if the way this thing is put together, we can always add another outer frame. That's not a problem. Don't want to, but we could. We could do that. That's what I loved about the way we did this was it's essentially we can expand on, and this is actually for those curious and why I had this silly idea in the first place. This is what I want to do for my shop sign eventually. Something very similar, where folks, the journeyman spike thing is cool or whatever, but I would much rather somebody make something and then I can add it to my sign, you know, and then that's always going to be a part of the shop sign. So that was the idea behind it. And maybe this grows into that at some point. I don't know. I know we have plans. I have plans that Paul will probably execute. I have plans. I had way different plans for this sign originally. We had to pare it down and bring things back to reality based off of the timeline we had. If we had started 2 months ago, we could have run with all of my wacky ideas. But next year's Quad State, this sign might be completely different with all my wacky ideas. I've got a couple that I might be able to pull off before then. So we'll see. We'll see. But yeah, I think it's a cool sign. I think we did a great job. It fell together much more quickly than I had anticipated that it would. The things that I thought were going to be problematic were actually not that problematic. I remember at one point we had this grand plan that we were going to tack weld some stuff and then hide those tack welds with the collars. And so I can let this out of the bag because ultimately that plan did not work so well. Some of those welds held fine because they were little tiny. I can't remember what size of drill bit we used, 1/4 inch maybe, going through 1/4 inch. So there wasn't a whole lot of surface area for that plug weld. So in some cases, the plug welds just didn't hold. So I was like, I mean, it's already on, so let's just keep rolling. So it's not technically held together with tack welds, let me tell you. It's all collars. So that was really cool. I'd show you guys, but it's not ready to be seen. That's the only thing. I don't want to be that guy, but it's not ready to be seen. I'll have probably pictures of it before we actually are at Quad State, and then definitely pictures of it at Quad State. And if you're coming out, I would hope that you would come by and check it out. If you're not in our camp, and if you're interested, forge something for it. That'd be really cool. It'd be even more cool if you did it in our camp. Not that you have to, but I mean, that's the idea, right? We're trying to promote forging. That's a big reason why I go. It's a big reason why Brian went.
Iron Weber.
You know,
2 of them kind of helped.
Yeah.
The rest didn't do anything.
Yeah, the whole thing for me and why and what introduced me to Quad State in the first place was well, technically Ed Sol was the one that invited me out there for the very first one I ever went to, but after that it's been Brian and Ed, you know, and their whole goal for being there really is to promote forging, not to. I mean, that's so people ask why we go out there and we spend so much time doing what we do, and the idea is to promote forging. We want people to forge. I just read a thing today. Clifton Ralph's son posted, and Clifton had written this letter to the IBA, that's the Indiana Blacksmith Association. He had written this letter with like 4 or 5 bullet points of things he would like to see changed. And throughout each one of those, he basically was constantly reiterating the purpose of the IBA should be to promote blacksmithing and educate folks in blacksmithing. You know, and one of the things he was talked about was like, you know, do people, and some people do, but do people in mass, do they really want to go and sit and watch somebody else forge? I mean, is that really what you want to do? Is you just want to sit there and watch somebody else forge? Wouldn't you rather forge yourself and then maybe be around other people that can show you how to do something that you haven't done before? So I think our camp encapsulates that really well. You've got a wide range of people with a wide range of skill sets, some being completely different than others, like Kurt Fehrenbach hangs out in our camp. He's like a key member of our camp. He's got the Palisades, ginormous tent setup thing. And I mean, Kurt can forge a lot of different things, but his forte is power hammer work. Like if you want to know how to do stuff with a power hammer and get stuff done with a power hammer, that's the dude you want to spend time with talking to at Quad State. There's other people as well, but I'm telling you, in our camp, that's the dude you want to talk to. I don't know with Andrew Larson, Mark Ling, and Jonathan Pinkston, I don't know what their status is for this year's Quad State. I'm assuming that they're going to be there, but I haven't validated that. You want to know how to do tools, like hammers, top tools, tongs. Those are the guys you want to talk to in our camp. Those guys, hands down, hand forging, there's nobody better in our camp, in my opinion. Not even close. Well, Ed, maybe Ed. Ed, you know, and there's another person. You've got Ed Brazil, who will be, he should be there. We'll see. But Ed should be in our camp. Again, you know, there's 40 years of hand forging experience right there that you can draw from and take inspiration. P.S. Ed can do a lot more than make a fucking hammer, by the way. It seems like that's all anybody ever wants to do with him and Brian is make a hammer. They can do a lot more than that. In fact, last year, I think they did a horse head, a copper horse head, and some other things. You know, I forget who got him to do that, but you know, somebody finally showed up with something to do other than a fucking hammer. And I'm sure Ed is cool at doing a hammer, but I'm also sure he gets sick of, you know, that's like the only thing anybody ever wants to do. If you guys want to make a hammer, me and Paul will help you out. And if we can't help you out, we'll put Corbin on you. And Corbin will help you out. If Corbin can't do it, you know, we'll go from there, but we'll see. Oh, the owls are hooting. But yeah, I mean, we've got a lot of people in our Quad State camp with a lot of skill sets, a lot of different things that they're really good at. Dan Borowski will be there. I think, hell, he's well on his way to becoming a certified level 3 dude with Abana at this point. I think he's already on his level 2. So if you wanted to learn how to do level 1 stuff and some level 2 stuff, he'd be the dude to talk to because he's done it. You know, lots of cool stuff, man. So anybody that wants to forge and you're within a 10-hour drive of Troy, Ohio, and you're not coming to Quad State, you're doing yourself a huge disservice. Huge disservice. If you're coming out for a day, you're doing yourself a huge disservice. You need to schedule 3 days for that at least. And I can guarantee if you do 3 days, you're eventually going to want to do 4. And then one day you'll be like, I wish this could never end. Because it's that awesome, in my opinion. However, I've rambled on long enough. I feel like that guy in the movie Airplane sitting next to the old lady, and the poor old lady hangs herself because she gets tired of hearing him talk about that thing. So, I'll call it night. I'll catch you guys later.
Iron Weber. That's why we leave Tuesday.
Hell yeah, that's why we leave Tuesday. Would have done that last year, but anyways, I'll catch y'all later. I'm going to go inside and I'm gonna watch that Rings of Power that I kind of hate but don't hate. It's a weird relationship with that show.
Iron Rider. See you tomorrow.
I don't know that I'm coming out tomorrow because of Friday, but we'll see.